What's up, you guys? It's Steegy Pal here, coming at you guys with my deck profile for my Demise Watt deck, Wonder Family, Thunder Family, Watt deck, whatever you want to call the deck. I like to call it the Wonder deck, because it's like Watt Thunder, so the Wonder deck. But yeah, this deck is not 100% fully optimized and finalized, but I'm having a hard time getting a lot of different stuff. So I'm trying to have like a bunch of different content. So what I'm going to do here, people were actually requesting the deck profile. I'm actually just going to give you guys a deck profile, or at least for right now. This is the current list. If you guys want to make adjustments, you guys can, and I'm definitely going to be making adjustments as soon as I can get around to actually using this deck. But this is very close to the final optimized build. The monster ratio is pretty good, and everything else is pretty much good. There just might be a few choices that I haven't fully thought of in my mind yet for exactly what we want to play. So without further ado, let's get straight into the deck profile. We got triple Watt Cobra. Watt Cobra is basically your win condition. He just keeps stacking directly. He keeps searching out more Watt Cobras to keep putting on more pressure and more damage. And the goal of the deck is to kill them with Watt Cobra, but at the same time, slow them down from even being able to attack you and all that kind of stuff. So it's actually a pretty fun deck to play. It's a very, very stun-oriented deck. And then we have one Watt Giraffe. Watt Giraffe is pretty good, but you don't want it to clog up. He doesn't get you raw advantage like Cobra does, so I decided to just play him at 1 because he is a pretty good card and he has a pretty good effect. So, like you can do stuff like attack directly so they can't like float with their monsters, and then you can just like start attacking their monsters like their Burning Abyss monster or something, so they don't float. So it's actually a pretty good card. And then we're playing 2 Maw Hunters and 2 Paw Hunters. The reason why we're playing the Hunters is so that way you can spam the board faster than just getting a normal summon. And what's really cool about the Hunters is different from like Yosenju when it comes to Demise, is that their effects are trigger effects. They're not ignition effects. So you actually have to trigger the effect itself. It doesn't happen on summon like your Senjus do. So what you can do is if you have like a Hunter and a bunch of traps and a Demise, you can set the traps, summon the Hunter, activate your Demise, and they'll draw, and you draw 3 cards, and then if you draw another monster, you can just use the Hunter effect to normal summon the monster so you don't lose out. So it's actually really, really good. And the Hunters are really, really good. So I suggest, but you don't want to clog up on them. And another thing you guys see here is I did not run Thunder Seahorse because that card can itself be cloggy. Because like you have to basically get 2 of the same guy, and you can't normal summon both of them in the same turn, so you're gonna lose a monster, which like defeats the purpose of card demise. So I tried to avoid that and just go for as much plus as I can, which the Watts really, really help you do. So it's actually really good. And then triple duality for consistency, triple card demise. Is what makes the deck fast and like, or not really fast, but it's what gets you to your trap, so you can just stun your opponent until they just die. It's a really, really good card in this deck. And then 2 recycling batteries, so that way you can recover your monsters and make exceed. It's basically a 1 card exceed if you have like a Hunter and anything other Thunder monster in your grave. So it's actually really good. And then 1 mystical space typhoon, just so that way we do have at least some kind of back row removal in this deck. And then we're running 2 Messenger of Peace. It's actually pretty good against a lot of decks. They have big monsters, and you just want to slow them down so they can't actually attack your monsters if you don't have other cards. And it only costs 100 life points per turn, so basically, like, once you don't need it anymore, you can just get rid of it. And then 1 Regeki, because Regeki, helps clear the board, just because, like, sometimes it's not really there to help push for a game. It's more or less just there just to deal with problem monsters, so it's actually a pretty good card in this deck. And then, oh, sorry about that. We're playing 1 Moon Mirror Shield. Now, this card is really good because all your monsters are super small, and this just allows your monster just to beat over anything. So I highly suggest you guys at least play a Moon Mirror Shield in the deck. And then triple Sandstorm Mirror Force, or now it's called Quaking Mirror Force. It's actually really good. And we're going to play also double Rippling Mirror Force along with that. So we have triple Sandstorm and double Rippling. And the reason why we're playing triple Sandstorm in this deck is because it turns their monsters face down and they can't change their battle position. So, and since the Watts can attack directly, you can just hit over their monsters and just go into their life points directly. And that's basically why this deck is super fun and super good, because you can use Quaking Mirror Force to its full advantage because you don't even care. So it's actually pretty good. And then the Rippling, just in case you don't draw any monsters because you're only running 8, you have something to protect your life. And the same thing goes, like, if they do destroy your monsters somehow, you can at least protect your life. And it's actually a really good card. And they're playing triple Solemn Strike and 1 Solemn Warning. Strike is like really good, but it like you got to pay a lot of life points. So I mean, it is what it is, but it's probably one of the best ways to answer monster effects and big summons. And warning, one of the best traps. And then we're playing a bottomless trap hole and a time space trap hole, because we do run Rafflesia in the extra deck, and not only that, but they're just good cards all around, good back row cards to draw into. It's better than like a lot of other stuff, so I just decided to play those. Then I'm playing one Phoenix Chain, and like, I just wanted another way to negate a monster effect, but like, it's not a hang trap. But at the same time, this stops attacks, which protect your Watts from getting destroyed by battle, so you can live to attack another turn. Hopefully get more pluses. But I don't want to run too many because it does clog your back row. Because this deck likes to have a lot of floodgates on the board, so you don't really want to clog up on like something like Phoenix Chain. When you already have Strike, which is kind of better. And then we're running triple Rivalry of the Warlords. It's actually a really good card in this deck because everything's Thunder. But the only downfall about Rivalry is that there's no rank 4 Thunder monster. And I tried playing the Synchro for the Watts with like a tuner, but it just does not work. It's not very consistent, and it's just very bad. So basically with this, once you get Rivalry, you're stuck to what you have. But that's fine because your win conditions your Cobra in the first place. So, or at least your Watts in general. So it's actually a really good card in the deck. And then playing double lose one turn because it does slow other decks down. It's kind of like having a messenger piece in the sense that it allows you to at least protect you for one turn. And sometimes that can make a big difference because next turn you'll draw Demise and you'll get into like a messenger piece or something. So we decided just to lose one turn. It's actually a really good card in the deck. And then I'm playing one Huge Revolution is over just for the Twin Twister and Black Rose and all kinds of like field nukes, Regekis and stuff. And then one Trap Stun because Trap Stun essentially in this deck allows you to go off. Like you can poke your opponent down, and then if you want to kill them, you can make an X. You can Trap Stun your own board, turn off your Rivalry and everything, or like you lose one turn, and then you can go into like an Xseed and actually do something to your opponent, especially if you have hunters in your hand. So Trap Stun I felt like was not only good against your opponents, but allows you to be more aggressive in this deck at times that you really need it. So I felt Trapstone was actually a really good card for the deck. And then, so that's the deck list so far. We have the extra deck here. We have one Starlight Pilot Dynamo and one Constellar Omega because the whole deck is light level 4 monsters. And these guys are actually really good if you can make them. So I decided to just play them. Like, Starlight is the first monster that, like, it's kind of like a big trick where if you do Solemn it still gets to draw you a card, essentially. And he's like really good at making your opponent's monsters zero and negating their effects. And then and you can do more damage that way. And then Omega is good at just fighting through back row because it takes at least 2 cards to kill an Omega while he has material. And then I think one of the more important Xyzs in the deck is Traptrix, Rafflesia. Just because, like, sometimes I make it just because, like, there's not as much they can do to it, and it can get rid of monsters while you're sitting there poking them. But, like I said, if you have a Rivalry, you can't really do it, but it is good, and it works with your trap holes. And then one Dark Rebellion Exodus Dragon, just to do damage. Ragnar Zero, 101, Cowboy, Giant Hand. I mean, this is just basically utility box. You never really need your extra deck that much in this deck. Castell, Diamond, Dire Wolf, Double Dweller, because I think if there's any Xseed you really would need, it'd be this one, I guess. And then the Utopia package, because these are probably the most important Xseeds you could ever probably make. Like, Utopia Lightning gets over stuff, Utopia Prime helps you go for game, and Dweller just is a win condition against a lot of decks. So that's the deck profile. Thank you guys very much for watching. Let me know in the comment section what you guys thought of this deck, and if you guys have any suggestions or ideas, that way I don't have to actually do as much testing, because usually it takes me a while to test decks, at least like a week or two to fully do it. But now that I have my channel, I'm doing so many decks at the same time, like it's a lot harder to actually just like fully optimize a deck that I'm trying to create. So if you guys have any ideas, help me out, let me know. It'd be really appreciated. Thank you guys very much for watching again, and take care until next time.